Then coming to the export procedure. Export procedure is much simpler than import procedure. In export procedure, what happens is that the exporter, like one who has a factory in Delhi, takes his goods to a customs airport or customs port or the land customs station or an ICD, the inland container depot, or the custom freight stations, okay, for the purpose of export. There you go and file a shipping bill. Or if you are exporting through land, then you will file a bill of export. For ship and aircraft, you will file a shipping bill, and for vehicles, you will file a bill of export. It will contain all the details of the goods to be exported, signed, verified to the best of our knowledge and belief, the statement of truth. After that, the customs officer will verify the goods and will allow the export. So for what he'll do first is check the valuation and rate of duty and all, and he will pass a clearance order. Okay? Once he passes the clearance order, at the same time the ship in charge has made a request to the customs officer to allow the loading of the goods. So the customs officer will grant him, that is the ship in charge, an entry outward. What will be granted? Entry outward will be granted to the vessel in charge. So on one hand is the exporter who files the shipping bill and gets the clearance order. That clearance is called as the let export order or let ship order. In the meantime, so there are two sides. One is the exporter side and one is the vehicle in charge or the vessel in charge. So he asks for the permission of loading and he gets entry outward. When both of these things happen, let ship order and entry outward, when he receives both, so what the exporter does is he hands over one copy of let ship order to the vessel in charge. So vessel in charge will have two documents, entry outward permission and a copy of the let ship order. On this basis, he will load the goods. He will upload the goods. Upload means load the goods, take the goods on board the ship. After the goods have boarded, he will file the last document called as export manifest. After filing the export manifest or export report, the officer will verify it again, and if everything is fine, then he will be given pass out order, means clearance order. Okay, now you can leave India. So he'll blow the horn, or the airlines will go to the tarmac, fly off. Simple. So that is called as the export procedure. Now let's see each of these points in detail. So first is entry of goods for exportation, that is shipping bill. So the exporter of any goods shall present to the proper officer, in the case of goods to be exported in vessel or aircraft, a shipping bill. In case of land, a bill of export. The exporter shall make and subscribe to the declaration of truth, obviously, of its contents. And the shipping bill or bill of export must be presented electronically on the customs automated system, obviously. However, the commissioner can allow physical also if it is not feasible to present electronically, obviously. And then again, you are responsible for three things, like in import manifest. You are responsible for three things: accuracy and completeness, like in bill of entry, accuracy and completeness of the information, authenticity and validity of documents, and compliance with the restrictions or prohibitions. And shipping bill also will be submitted in quadruplicate, means 4 copies. But if duty drawback claim is to be filed, if you are going to file a duty drawback claim, then you have to have a 5th copy also. So you will add one more copy. So there will be then 5 copies. And types of shipping bill are, types means the number, the 5 numbers are. First will be for export of goods under duty drawback, green color. Export of dutiable goods, then yellow. Now I don't remember the colors, but you do. You have to give the exam. Duty free goods, then white color, which will be normal because there are hardly any export duty goods. Then for export duty free goods X bond, that is from bonded storeroom, pink color. And for export incentives, blue color. If you are going to claim some export incentives, then blue color. Just read 3 times. Okay, so you have filed your shipping bill. Now the proper officer will verify it, and if he is satisfied, then he will grant you let export order, or also called as let ship order. So where the proper officer is satisfied that the goods entered for export are not prohibited goods, and the exporter has paid the duty if any assessed thereon and the charges payable under the act, he may make an order permitting clearance and loading of the goods for exportation, provided that such order may also be made electronically, obviously through the automated system, and provided further that the government may by notification permits certain class of exporters to make deferred payment. So here also deferred payment can be allowed, 15 days payment, provided you are a regular exporter. And in case of deferred payment, where the exporter fails to pay the export duty either in full or part, then interest will be charged. He will have to pay interest on the short payment, and the rate of interest can be notified by the government in the range of 5 to 36%. Then again 51A is given here also. Section is same. I have given it both the places because it is applicable to import as well as export duty. So here again that concept of electronic cash ledger is discussed. Open electronic cash ledger. Whatever you deposit will be credited there, and then whatever you pay will be debited to the electronic cash ledger. So that concept is the same, don't have to study again. So that is your duty, the exporter's duty. 2 sections are involved there. And now coming to the person in charge of the vehicle or the vessel. What he has to do, he has to first take entry outward. So section 39 applies. The vessel should be granted entry outward. Loading can start only after entry outward is granted, and loading should be done with the permission of the proper officer. 3 important points of section 39. It says that loading can take place only when the vessel is granted entry outward. And then you have to hand over that let ship order to the, you are the exporter, the order that you have received under section 51 must be handed over to the vessel in charge. So that is also given. That export goods can be loaded only after shipping bill or the bill of export duly passed. So when it is passed, it is called as let ship order. Is handed over to the exporter, by the exporter to the person in charge of the conveyance. And in case of baggage and mail bags, shipping bill is not necessary, but permission of customs officer is required. And then the departure. So before departure, then the last document to be filed is the departure manifest or export manifest or export report, right? So let's see. The person in charge of the conveyance carrying export goods or imported goods shall before departure of the conveyance from the custom station deliver to the proper officer, in case of vessel or vehicle, vessel or aircraft, a departure manifest or export manifest by presenting electronically, and in case of vehicle, export report. So now again 2 documents. If a ship has come to India bringing imported goods, they have unloaded those imported goods and it is going back, there is no export goods, then it will only file a departure manifest. And if it is carrying exported goods from this place in India, then it will file export manifest. Okay, both are done electronically. Or in case of vehicle, an export report. Right now there is no electronic form of export report, but in future they may bring that also. And prescribed form and manner, of course. And penalty for delay is again up to rupees 50,000. If no sufficient cause is shown for the delay, then you may be liable to penalty of up to 50,000. And then the provisos are there. that if it is not feasible to file electronically, then you may be allowed to file in physical form also. And at the foot thereof, you have to mention the truth of contents, obviously. And if there is any error or it is incomplete, then it can be amended or supplemented also if there was no fraudulent intention. If there is not a fraud case, then it can be amended or supplemented. And the procedure is also given. The procedure for preparation is as follows. In case of shipment by sea, the ship's officer gives a receipt after he has received the consignment on board the ship. This receipt is called mate receipt. It is surrendered to the steamer agent or the agent who issues the bill of lading. Okay, bill of lading is issued by the booking agent, and this mate ship is given by the ship to that booking agent. Then in the case of shipment by air, after the cargo is delivered to the airways for loading, the airways issues the air consignment note, also called as the airway bill, AWB it is called as. These are documents of title basically. And in case of train or lorry, a railway receipt or a lorry receipt, as the case may be, will be issued as soon as the consignment is received. So these are the documents of title which are to be issued. And the Export General Manifest or report is the consolidated report of all such bills of lading or air consignment notes or the railway receipts or lorry receipts. Then form and contents of the manifest is also given. There are regulations for each, and the details are again the same as the import manifest. Shall deliver in duplicate 2 copies. It shall be cargo report, vessel store list, private property. These are the same as were mentioned in the import manifest. Private property list and passenger manifest. And cargo list will again be divided into the following. Cargo shipped means cargo which is loaded at this port. The cargo which is transshipped means some other ship had brought it and we are now taking it to somewhere else. Then cargo lying in the vessel but not landed or transshipped, that is same bottom cargo. Cargo in respect of which drawback is claimed. And in case of vessel, the dutiable goods including arms and ammunition forming part of ordinary equipment of the vessel. And specific declarations for all these items, arms, ammunitions, explosives, etc. And if it is carrying no such cargo, then it will give a nil report. Then passenger and crew departure manifest. This is again passenger manifest. So in case of passenger ships and passenger aircrafts or the bus vagera, you have to give the bus etc. You have to give the passenger manifest as well. And the passenger name record information of departing passengers. All simple things. And if he does not so deliver, then again penalty of up to 50,000 can be charged. And lastly, conveyance to leave on written order. Leave means the final, that Tata bye-bye order, departure order. So it says the vessel aircraft which has brought imported goods or which carries export goods cannot leave customs station unless the customs officer gives a written order. Such order is given only after export manifest is submitted, shipping bill, bills of export, bill of transshipment etc. submitted, duties etc. have been paid or secured even on stores if liable, no penalties leviable, export duty is paid, and such permission is not required if the conveyance is carrying only luggage of occupants. Means this written order is not required in case of passenger ships and aircrafts. It is required only if cargo is there. So if it is only luggage, only this thing, the baggage, then not required. And then 43 says exemption of certain classes of conveyance from this whole chapter. There is import export. The last lecture and this will not apply. In which case? So it says the provisions of section 30, 41 and 42. 30 means import manifest, 41 means export manifest, 42 means departure order. These 3 sections shall not apply to a vehicle which carries no goods other than luggage. So we just saw now that purely passenger aircrafts, They don't have to file import manifest. They have to file passenger manifest. They don't have to file export manifest. Instead, they will have to file the passenger manifest. And they don't need a departure order. Further, the central government may by notification in official gazette exempt the following classes of conveyances from all or any of the provisions of this chapter. Complete exemption. Conveyances belonging to Indian or foreign government. Government owned conveyances are exempted, like Prime Minister's aircraft. It will be exempted from complete procedure. Okay. So they don't have to file import export manifest. The officers cannot go on board that aircraft. They cannot check. They cannot do anything. Complete exemption. Or vessels or aircrafts which temporarily enter India by reason of emergency. Means an aircraft which was not supposed to enter India, but because of emergency, because of some threat or some problem in the engine or so on and so forth, it has to land. So it is not required to follow any procedure. And the flow pattern of export is also given, that you have to read once. Very simple. Then there is a rule given there. Import of goods at concessional rate of duty rules of 2017. So let's see what these rules say. Very simple ones, and just go through it once. You have to read it once right there. And we'll mark some important points and you'll highlight it and just read it later on if required. So what basically it means is that import of goods at concessional rate of duty. If some concessional rate is allowed to you for import of goods, then you have to follow a particular procedure for importing those goods. So basically this is applicable for manufacturing of export goods. If we are importing raw material for manufacture of export goods and we want to claim exemption on the imported raw material because they are meant for production of export goods, so anyways the duty is not payable, or if we pay then later on we can claim it as duty drawback. So for importing such raw materials, what is the procedure that you will have to follow? So that is given here. So firstly, this paragraph talks about the old rules and then the new rules, why they were brought. So this is of no use. Then the second para is also of no use. Cut both of them. Directly come to the rules. Rule 2. These rules shall apply to an importer who intends to avail the benefit of exemption notification issued under section 25(1). These are exemption notifications which allow you to import goods and claim exemption. So in order to claim exemption, you will have to follow this procedure. And where the benefit of such exemption is dependent upon the use of imported goods covered by that notification for the manufacture of any commodity or provision of output service. Means exemption is like this. For just a simple example, that Farooq is a teacher. The government is very happy with Farooq sir. Very happy. I can't tell you how much. Prime Minister Modi just called me yesterday. He was so happy. And he said that we are issuing an exemption notification for you. That whatever inputs you will need to import, like I am going to give these Apple tabs to all the students. Yeah, distributed to all the students of school, colleges and all. So government is giving a notification in my favor that if these tabs are imported by Farooq to be used for education purpose, means for recording lectures and supplying it to students, then he is entitled for exemption of import duty on these Apple tablets. So now I want to claim this exemption. I will be importing 10,000 and later on lakhs and lakhs of tablets. Initial consignment is 10,000. So let's see what procedure I will have to follow. Okay. These rules shall apply only in respect of such exemption notification which provides for observance of these rules. Means if the exemption notification specifically mentions that you have to observe these rules, then I will have to observe, otherwise not. Definition. Exemption notification means notification issued under section 25(1). Information means information provided by manufacturer who intends to avail the benefit. That's simple points. No need for the other this thing. Just come to rule 4, point number 3. Information about intent to avail the benefit. An importer who intends to avail the benefit of the exemption notification shall provide the information to DC or AC having jurisdiction over the premises where the imported goods shall be put to use for manufacture of goods or rendering output service. Okay. The particulars, namely the name and address of the manufacturer or the service provider, the goods produced at his manufacturing facility, what I am going to produce with these raw materials, if it is a case of raw materials, and the nature and description of imported goods used in the manufacture of goods or providing output service. So what are the goods I want to import? So I will mention Apple tablets. Procedure. The importer who intends to avail the benefit shall provide information in duplicate to the ACDC having jurisdiction over the premises where the imported goods shall be put to use for manufacture of goods or rendering output service, the estimated quantity and value of the goods to be imported. So here I will mention the quantity. So first in rule 4 I mentioned the type of goods that I want to import. Now I will mention the quantity and value. How many tablets? 1 million tablets. What is the value? So on and so forth, 50,000 per unit. Then particulars of exemption notification. I will mention the notification number which is issued by the government in my favor on such import, and port of import in respect of particular consignment for a period not exceeding 1 year. Which will be the port of import? So I will be importing the goods from Bombay port. All these things I will mention. And this declaration is effective for basically 1 year. Then next year I will have to again give a separate intimation. Then in one set to Deputy or Assistant Commissioner at the Customs Station of Importation. At the Customs Station of Importation. So one set is to be given to the Deputy or Assistant Commissioner of Customs at the Customs Station also. Then importer who intends to avail the benefit of exemption notification shall submit continuity bond. Next point is submit a continuity bond with the security and surety as may be deemed appropriate by ACDC having jurisdiction over the premises. So why the need for bond? Because I may misuse the notification. I may import the tablets and then give it away to, or maybe resell it in India instead of being used for education. So in that case the bond will be exercised and the duty will be recovered from me. So therefore the bond has to be given along with surety and security to cover the payment if it arises on violation, along with interest and all. Then the Deputy Assistant Commissioner having jurisdiction of premises where the importer shall put to use shall forward one copy of information received from the importer to the ACDC of Customs at the place of importation. Then on receipt of the copy of information, the ACDC of Customs at the Customs Station of Importation shall allow the benefit of the exemption notification to the importer. Simple. Then the importer who intends to avail the benefit of the notification shall provide the information of the receipt of imported goods in his premises where goods shall be put to use for manufacture within 2 days excluding holidays of such receipt to the jurisdictional customs officer. Now as the goods will reach my factory or my premises, I will inform the local customs officer, the jurisdictional customs officer within 2 days that the goods have arrived. Thanks for your approvals and thanks for your coordination. The goods have finally arrived. Then the importer who has availed the benefits of exemption notification shall maintain an account. You have to obviously maintain an account in the prescribed manner, clearly indicating the quantity and value of the goods imported, the quantity of imported goods consumed in accordance with the exemption notification, the quantity of goods re-exported. If it is not used, you have to re-export, and if any under Rule 7 of the quantity remaining in stock. Then bill of entry wise, the details have to be mentioned. Bill of entry wise means for each consignment that is imported, you have to maintain a separate stock record, bill of entry wise, and shall produce the said account as and when required by Deputy or Assistant Commissioner having jurisdiction over the premises where the imported goods shall be put to use. Okay, so I will have to maintain accounts and give it to the officer for checking basically. And the importer who has availed the benefit of exemption notification shall submit quarterly return. Then there is quarterly return also in the prescribed form, And re-export can be done, as we have seen, that if the goods imported into India are not used for the defined purpose for which the exemption notification was granted, then you'll have to re-export it. So it says, the importer who has availed the benefit of exemption prescribing observance of these rules may re-export the unutilized or defective also imported goods within 6 months from the date of import, with the permission of ACDC having jurisdiction of the premises, where the imported goods shall be put to use for manufacturing. All that is not necessary. So you just remember these underlines. You have to re-export within 6 months if it is unused or defective. However, the value of such goods at the time of re-export shall not be less than the value of import. The value should not be less, means you cannot sell it as a scrap. Then the importer who has availed the benefit of exemption rules may also clear the unutilized or defective imported goods with the permission of the ECDC having jurisdiction of premises within a period of 6 months from the date of import, on payment of import duty equal to the difference between the duty leviable on such goods but for the exemption availed and that already paid. Means in case of concession, we'll have to pay the difference, and if we have got full exemption, we have to pay the whole amount of duty along with interest. So that means that you can clear the goods also. If you don't want to re-export them, you can clear them in India, but on payment of duty and interest. Okay, interest will be charged right from the importation till the date of payment. Then recovery of duty in certain cases. If the importer who has availed the benefit of the exemption shall use the goods imported in accordance with the conditions mentioned in the exemption notification, obviously, or take action to re-export or clearance within under Rule 7, and in the event of any failure, means he doesn't use it, nor re-exports it, nor clears it, and 6 months have gone, then what will happen? The deputy commissioner or the assistant commissioner, as the case may be, having jurisdiction of the premises where the imported goods shall be put to use by invoking, shall take action. The ACDC shall take action by invoking the bond to initiate the recovery proceedings along with interest. Simple. So it's a simple procedure. And there is another this thing given, clarification regarding export procedure and sealing of containerized cargo. How the sealing is done. The one simple procedure of sealing is given that you have to read. Basically, the officer will come and seal. After checking the goods, he can seal the goods, or you can take it to port and the customs authorities can seal the goods. So that simple procedure is given. There is nothing to explain in that, so you have to just read it once. Okay, the sealing of containers, just go through it once, that's it. And even if you forget, that's fine, because these are circulars, they are generally not asked in the exams. Okay, so that's it. That was the export procedure basically, and a few circulars and notifications that we have seen.